everybody again and it's nice. It's very nice of you that there is an opportunity for customers and for me on behalf of the Dr.Max networking team to present the experience that we had with IXP services for an enterprise company, not definitely an internet service provider or service provider of some kind. But I will show you why it makes sense even for enterprise to use an IXP. So let's move on and let's see the agenda. Basically, I will introduce Dr.Max Group, what we do, who we are, and then we will discuss the needs, how we let's say approach the IXP services, what benefits did we have out of it, and what future challenges do we have, because it's the business and the networking for enterprises is changing constantly. So maybe in a year we'll be in a different situations. So I will mention that as well. So just to briefly introduce who we are. Dr.Max is basically a large pharmacy chain or chain of pharmacies, and for retail business and also the wholesale business for the supplying other pharmacy chains in central and also not so central Europe, because we are also already in eight countries. We have pharmacies in six countries. I will show you map in a minute. And everything the Dr.Max Group is owned by the Central European Investment Group called Penta, located in Prague, in Czech Republic. But we are operating all over 8 European countries. And out of it, I'll just mention the number of pharmacies that we have in our countries. It's all over 2,000. We have, let's say, regarding this number one pharmacy chain in Central Europe and number 4 in Europe. The number of pharmacies, we also brand, let's say, our own medicaments, our own medicines in 2 central laboratories. And we have almost or over 8 million members of the benefit program. Just to see it geographically, we have pharmacies or the retail businesses that I will speak about in this presentation in Czech Republic, Slovakia, Poland, Romania, Serbia, and Italy. Maybe in the next years we will expand. Maybe not. That's depending on something that I don't know. But why should we think about using an IXP or Internet Exchange service for us anyway? Because it doesn't make so much sense. I will show you, because there are some business needs for the let's say pharmacy business or pharmaceutical business that we run. Basically, the most important reason is that the pharmacy, even if it's on the remote location somewhere outside of the main cities, it should be always online, because there are many tasks that the pharmacy needs to access and have the data which are not available locally at the pharmacy. I'll just on the slide I have included some of the things. I will not go through all of them. Just there is a need to interact with health insurance companies, to interact, to validate the prescriptions if the medicine is not over the counter, if it's prescribed by a doctor. We need to communicate by each sale, in each purchase. We need to communicate with the state medicine or some drug control institutes in the countries, and it's different in each country, but it's similar, but it's quite different in a way. So we need to let's say mitigate those differences. Of course, there are payment terminals for the debit or credit card payments. So many internal let's say tools. Just to sum up, there are many things which needs to be done, which needs to be asked before the medicament can be handed over to the customer. And if those data are not available, basically this purchase cannot be done. So the pharmacy may even close for the worst case. So we are looking to have a, let's say, very highly available network, to have all the pharmacies connected and to have those informations. The pharmacies is not the only reason, but we also need to connect our employees, which are not in the head offices, can be anywhere on the internet. With the pandemic going on, they are working from home, and also because the Dr.Max is not just the brick and mortar, let's say, pharmacy chain. We also have an e-shop. So we need the good connectivity to the place where we host the e-shop infrastructure is a part of customer experience. So basically, we need a good connectivity everywhere we are, and translate it into the infrastructure needs. Basically, we operate the international wide area network one, but we have from the application point of view, we have a highly centralized IT infrastructure. So we have many spokes over Europe. I think the pharmacies, the warehouses, the labs, the offices, and small DCs. And basically, most of the applications are now hosted into large cloud infrastructure as a service data centers. Basically, it's provided to us by the provider of the virtual cloud or private cloud for us, located in Prague in Czech Republic. And again, as additional information is that we don't run, let's say, network teams in each country. We don't run, let's say, different networks in each country, and then some interconnections. We run, let's say, pan-European network, or let's say group network, and we have a single networking team, not just from Czech Republic, but let's say we operate the whole network, not just country per country. So, and we were put up to the challenges with a classic enterprise one services, something we are supposed to use. Let's say if we are not the service provider, just ask the service provider near you to provide you some services to connect all those things. Okay, they work, they are fine, but sometimes they are unsatisfactory for us. Basically, one of the factors is the high cost per megabits per second, especially for the international links between the countries, and to put up together, let's say, all the pharmacies in they are often called like the MPLS kind of services, even though the MPLS may not be used even as a protocol. But those kind of enterprise layer 3 VPN services are usually let's say, much more expensive than let's say, if you compare it to the internet connectivity. And those fund services may not be as flexible as we need. Let's say if we need some special features regarding routing or some higher availability, many equations it's not available. And if we need to change something, usually we need to change it quickly, but the changes are time consuming, and they are for the additional cost and so on. So the good thing is that those services are, let's say, private. So we are not, let's say, exposing our internal data to the public or over public infrastructure. But actually, it's this private nature is not really a benefit for us, because we are encrypting the traffic anyway as an overlay, as it is in overlay tunnels. So basically, we will be happy with the public infrastructure, with the internet as well, because we encrypt the traffic anyway. So the things which are good on the private services are the SLAs, or service level agreements, some guarantees that we need to have, because we are dependent on those connectivities. And even if we use multiple on let's say, on a single pharmacy, we can use 2 or more connectivities. We still need to be sure, and we need to have some agreement with the provider that if some let's say, characteristics or performance on the link are not met, then we get something back. So it's very important, but those SLAs cost a lot on the private services like the MPLS based. And there are also a new, let's say, emerging technologies. Let's say you may know about the software-defined WAN provided by some service providers as a new type of service. It's a move forward, definitely, but it's if it's managed by the service provider, we are locked with this specific service provider for the whole network. And sometimes even in, let's say, single country, there is no single let's say service provider which can connect all the pharmacies into one, let's say, private network or one SD-WAN. And if we come up with other countries, let's say, I can imagine that we can negotiate, let's say, pan-European service provider with some connectivity, but it would be very costly, and we would definitely be locked. So we are thinking about something else, something about that we have everywhere, the internet presence. The internet is everywhere. And as I have already mentioned, we are using the encryption and overlay tunnels to connect from the pharmacies, from the spokes to the data center, to our hubs. As an overlay tunnels, we are using them anyway. So we don't need, let's say, to use a private infrastructure. For the internet links, basically the much higher capacities are available, and we can have much lower cost per megabits per second. So if we can somehow manage to keep the SLAs or to keep the guarantees for that we know from the private type of services on the public services, it would be great. So we can build even let's say, if we combine more of the, let's say, low grade SLAs, then we can build them together and use them as a backup, one for each other. Then we can build a very resilient service which uses the internet as a transport. So we were thinking about, okay, let's go this way. Let's use the power of the internet and on the let's say infrastructure that is already there. But we came to some let's say points where we needed to think about and how can we cope. Okay. Everybody will say to you, not to you, but to us, that no one guarantees anything on the internet for end customers like us. So, and you still need to have some guarantees, some SLAs on the wide area network. So, can you let's say, can we manage it by let's say putting private links with the major ISPs to our network, or to set up some contracts with each of them? But this is something which is known for many years on the internet, and you don't need it if you are a service provider. You already know that you can use an exchange point, internet exchange point for this, and just to avoid some complex full mesh contract with each service provider. You can use an internet exchange point for that purpose, so that we can, regardless of which internet service provider is providing the connectivity in the pharmacy, and there can be more of them, multiple of them, we can meet all of them in the internet exchange point. And if we are present there as well, which we were not at the start of this process, then we can be, let's say, very close to them, one hop away from each of them. And then we can let's say be much more confident on the guarantees that we can get from each of them regarding of the, let's say, availability of the link. So, and by accident or by some luck, we had our hub cloud data centers located in Prague, are located in the same facility as the major internet exchange point in Czech Republic or Central Europe. And we just needed to think about what do we need as an enterprise, as a non-ISP company to use it. So basically this IXP is a Prague-based nix.cz internet exchange point, which has a presence in Prague, now in Bratislava, and in Vienna, in Czech Republic, Slovakia, and Austria, which let's say at present holds over 180 networks. So, and in those networks include most of the service providers that we are using to connect the pharmacies and the offices and the remote data centers in our countries, where Dr.Max is present. So initially, we need to overcome some technical knowledge and also administrative barriers the easiest one was the cabling, because obviously you need to somehow to physically connect to the XP switches, which we were able to manage easily. The next point is to have the network staff. The internal Dr.Max team needs to be, let's say, knowledgeable and needs to understand and operate the internet routing, or at least some basics regarding the BGP and filtering and such stuff. And luckily, we have those people in our team. So maybe that's one reason why we are not a typical enterprise company, but we have a very good network staff presented, and so we were able to overcome this barrier as well. And of course, to be present at the public peering point for the internet, you need to have a public autonomous system number and IPv4 and IPv6 ranges to announce to your presence. For this purpose, we decided to become actually there are many ways how to let's say fulfill those requirements, but we decided to go with the let's say complex way to become a RIPE NCC member, local internet registry, to let's say to provide the registry services for our, let's say, Dr.Max companies in the countries, because let's say there are different entities in each country. We have the chain is a different legal entity, and using the services from the group from the Dr.Max BDC. And we started let's say cooperating with Nix.cz people, and they were very helpful. They provided with the full let's say assistance to start the connectivity, to complete all the documents, to complete everything, to complete the technical settings, not to let's say provide not to be disruptive for the other members of the Nix. So actually, we are not a member of Nix, we are a customer. It's a different type of service. We are just a customer, and we are using the service of the public peering, and we are using the service of the private peering VLANs between the Dr.Max and service providers that we need to, let's say, communicate privately over the private VLANs. Of course, we still need to buy the transit connectivity, but in significantly lower volume before we started with this. So this moves me to the benefits of using the IXP. Basically, from my point of view, it's the most important is the, let's say, lower cost of internet connectivity. I know that I'm talking here on the forum where internet connectivity can be, let's say, something, but take it from the enterprise point of view. We are paying less for the transit, and we are having some fixed fees for the ports in the IXP, and so we are able to let's say to have a, let's say, amount of megabits for that price is let's say without any competition. First, directly at the IXP point, and indirectly at the spokes. So we are saving for the private links that we would need to have otherwise on the pharmacies, in the warehouses, in the labs. So we can use any I would not say cheap, but any internet which is available around those spokes, so that we can save on both places for the connectivity. And the benefit is something I've already mentioned. It's in the public peering VLAN. We have no intermediate ISPs or networks or transit providers between Dr.Max Group and the ISP that are providing the connectivity for the actual pharmacy, for the remote site. So, and even in the Nix CZ, we don't have just Czech or Slovak service providers. We have the service providers or networks from Poland and Serbia. So basically, we have a very this let's say presence in just one IXP provides us very good presence in different countries around Central Europe. And this is not just about the public peering. It's good. It's a very good benefit. But once we are, let's say, back to back with virtually back to back with a private VLAN, with some service provider from the other country, we can set up very easily, let's say, international connectivity with of course, with minimal latency, and all of those things means that we can let's say have some agreements, we can have some SLAs signed, something we can count on, so that if it doesn't work, we know whom to call, we know what to repair, and we are not in the situation where we are dependent on some, let's say, transit providers, which, let's say, are not reachable for anybody, for not for us. So that's the main benefit for us, and of course the shorter path to Dr.Max network result in, let's say, optimal routing and minimal latency. That's a general, let's say, advantage of an IXP, and we tend to use this benefit as well. This capacity for the IXP is very scalable for us, because basically it's for us it's unlimited virtually, because we can have a, let's say, port 1 gig, 10 gig, 100 gig, anything we need. So we are not limited. Let's say I would say in some access infrastructure on some ports. And the other benefits, or not just important, not so important, but important as well, that we are very close regarding the, let's say, network topology to the let's say, content providers and security providers. So we have very good connectivity to those services which everybody is using, and we do as well. So even the pharmacists and the pharmacy sometimes using Google, using some public software as a service services from Microsoft, and O365 as well. So we have a very good, let's say, user experience with those as well. Let's say the peering is not open from all of them. We just have, let's say, the benefits from some of them, and as soon as our traffic will meet some overcomes some boundary, we will transfer more. Then they will peer with us as well. So I'm coming to the end, to the conclusion of my presentation. It seems, let's say, once you have let's say, knowledgeable people in your company, you doesn't have to be an ISP to use and to take benefits out of internet exchange point. Once you have a lot of locations, once you have a lot of traffic, you can use it, and it will bring benefits to you, to your company, to your operations, to your network topology, to your network user experience from the network. But not everything is, let's say, I would say, shiny and bright, because it's not so common to have let's say, in-house or in-company people which are able to manage the ISP tasks or ISP-like tasks regarding the BGP, regarding the filtering, regarding the choosing the best path and everything. So most of the enterprises today are, let's say, moving to the different trends, and I will mention some of them. So one of them is, let's say, the in-house operated, not the provider operated, but the in-house operated software-defined wide area network, SD-WAN. I've already mentioned that as an option, which is, let's say, offered by the service provider as a service to the enterprise. And this point I am talking now is about, let's say, the service, the software-defined one that we will definitely run by ourselves, and we will manage and monitor the infrastructure. And one of the features of the software-defined one is the direct internet access, which, let's say, bypasses the need for the data to travel to the hub, because once the traffic is let's say, has its destination somewhere in the internet, and it can leave the pharmacy, the remote location directly there, it will bypass our hub, and it will go directly via other IXPs that we are not present in, definitely, where the ISPs, where the service providers are present. They will go there directly. So we will, let's say, the need for this will diminish in the future. The need to be present in IXP will be slightly or even more, let's say, lower once we are moving on. There may be some regulations which still require some traffic heading to the internet to be inspected, but as I mentioned, the other points, for example, the public software as a services usage, let's say Microsoft O365, Google Apps, and the others, Salesforce, so ServiceNow, and other services that you may know, which are present directly on the internet, and they let's say the traffic heading for them doesn't really need to happen through our data center. So as we will be moving more and more to those services, we will be using more and more SD-WAN direct internet access feature, and we will, let's say, we will be needing less the IXP. And the third challenge I'm talking about what we can have in the future is that we will be moving to the let's say large clouds such as Azure or AWS or Google Cloud Platform and the others. And it means that we will be moving our workload from our data center, let's say we call it on-premise. It's not on our premise because it's virtual by the provider, but it's something that we can operate as infrastructure. And once we are moving the applications and all the services that we are needing for the pharmaceutical business to those kind of services such as Azure, there will be, let's say, even less need to visit the traffic from the pharmacy, our original on-premise data center. So in the extreme case, we may let's say close our on-premise data center and use only the large clouds. But it also depends on the cost analysis, because those let's say services which provides better experience for the application development and can provide better experience for the users regarding the direct connectivity from the pharmacy to Azure, because the Azure, let's say, data centers are dispersed around Europe and all over the world, of course. So, but it can cost more than if we are providing, let's say, the connectivity by the internal means, by the use of, let's say, directly being involved in internet exchange point, which we are now. So this concludes my presentation. I just to sum up, I was speaking about our, let's say, our way to use an IXP, what we are taking off, what benefits are we using, and I have also shared some vision of the future, where basically the message can be it's not for every enterprise company. Once you are using, let's say, more of the public cloud services and you are not using your on-prem data center, you will not need much in IXP for your needs. So thank you for your listening, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask.
Thank you, Miroslav. Very interesting presentation. We do have a bunch of questions here in the chat. So starting from the first one. So what sort of traffic levels are you getting on the IXP on average day? Do you have big variation due to some exceptional events?
Yeah, we don't have so much exceptions, because let's say the traffic from the pharmacies is kind of let's say average. There is no special or some events. Currently we have let's say 10 gigabit ports, but we have a lot of free space. Our traffic is around 1 gigabit. So we are ready for the future, as we let's say as more of the traffic will come, definitely with the use of, let's say, video conferencing and such services, which eat a lot of bandwidth.
Okay. The next question is, have you considered having a distributed site or disaster recovery site in another country and joining the local IXP there?
Actually, yes, we are thinking about this, but as my last slide says, we now from the business, let's say our business drivers are somewhat different. We will not, let's say, build the on-premise data centers, even if it would be good for disaster recovery. But we are trying to, or we are now focusing on moving the workload to the public clouds, such as Microsoft Azure. So it makes let's say the need for the IXP or the let's say our participation in a different IXP than Nix.cz. Let's say the need is not so high.
Okay, then the following question is, how does IXP presence affect your connectivity selection at remote locations? Yes,
we basically, when we are, let's say, tendering the connectivity for the pharmacies, we are, let's say, preferring the ISPs which have presence in Nix.cz, in the IXP where we are. And basically, when there is such provider, even if it's one, he's the preferred one for us. It's not possible everywhere, so we still have let's say pharmacies which are connected by the service providers which are not present in the Nix.cz, but that's just a minority, and we can have let's say very good parameters regarding the latency and bandwidth to the majority of the pharmacies.
Yeah, we actually have more questions coming in here as well. So next one is, are you using route servers? Are you finding them nice and easy or confusing, or have you encountered some other problems?
We are peering with the Nix.cz route servers, which let's say is our preferred way to connect with the others. We have only a few, let's say, direct BGP sessions. So we are preferring to use route servers because, let's say, for us it means let's say almost no negotiations with the other ISPs. It was the easiest let's say step for us to be present in this IXP, just to announce and take the routes from the route server.
Okay, and then the next one is, what type of traffic is driving Dr.Max network capacity need?
Yeah, during the day, it's basically the business transactional traffic, which needs to reach the both internet and the internal data center. In the night, we are using the backups and let's say some maintenance tasks, which can have a lot of traffic load. Then there is a let's say, I would say, commercial or marketing traffic, which let's say fills the advertising panels and the needs that the pharmacy needs to have synchronized with the campaigns, with the advertising let's say projects that are running in the countries.
Okay, and we have like 2 or 3 more questions here. So next one is, you mentioned that your team already had the skills to configure BGP and more. Were there other skills you needed then to develop so Dr.Max could peer effectively? Yeah,
it's good, but I think it was not a problem at our side, because it's good that you need to, let's say, you are able to design the whole network, even if it's multinational or multi-country. So it's good to have a design skills, but I think that every network guy can design a network, so that's nothing special. It's good to have some experience or or at least you need to have someone to ask about these public peerings, because once you don't set up everything properly, you can let's say make problems for the others in the IXP. So definitely it's a good thing that we had a support from Nix.cz in this regard. So we were safe in this way. So as a non-ISP, we were not triggering the problems with the ISPs.
Okay, and we have more questions coming in. So if you're now moving stuff into public clouds like Azure, do you see a future where you won't be needing the IXP connection anymore?
Yeah, good question. I think if we move everything to Azure, then we will not need IXP anymore. But I don't think we will move everything there because it has a cost. It's very costly to move everything in there. So it depends. It's on the balance. If you want, let's say, have the fully enterprise-like network with a full workload in Azure and not to deal with network anyway, because Microsoft or Google or Amazon will do that for you. Or if you decide to have, let's say, internal people, the networking team, which is able to do those things and to save some costs.
Okay, and one more. So for which type of enterprise companies would you recommend using IXP services?
Okay, so I would say it needs to be large enough. It's not just for the small companies. More likely, the benefits will, let's say, will be more prevalent if it's an international company. It's not just because once you are, let's say, medium-sized and you operate in one country, usually there is an ISP or SP which can fulfill your needs, and you don't need to do this IXP stuff. But once you are large, once you are multinational, once your applications are centralized, so you are not running them per country, so you need a strong international connectivity, then you are, let's say, good enterprise for this. And obviously you need to, let's say, have your on-premise data center, because if you are using just in public services like Azure, you will not need it, or you will not use an IXP.
Okay, in fact, we actually got in one more question here. Yes, so how much have you changed the way you operate over time? Because you're connected to the nix.zz. Have you given thoughts to this?
Before we were using the IXP, before we were using Nix, we paid a lot on the transit costs. But it was some let's say a few years back, and we were able to move and save a lot of costs and get a better service out of using the IXP. So I think our network, let's say, took the benefits. If we have changed. We just prepared the networking standards for in our countries, not to use the private services, but to focus on the public services, on the internet links. That was, let's say, one big change because we still have, let's say, legacy private services in some countries, but for the new, let's say, tenders for the new years, we expect to use the internet traffic. That's something what has changed in the past. And for the future, we are planning to use, let's say, some centralized and policy-based software-defined one solution based on the internet links, but that can result in, let's say, lowering or shrinking the needs to use an IXP because of the direct internet access.
Okay. Thank you very much, Miroslav, for your insight and your presentation. We had a lot of questions for you, so thank you for answering those as well.
Thank you.